you just gotta wonder, what in the fuck were they thinking of when they decided to make that dial? I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's kind of cool. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Zach here, and today we are going to be taking a look at some of the new Rolex releases from Watches and Wonders 2023. Okay, guys, so for any of my regular viewers of this channel, I would imagine you're very confused right now. For those of you who are not familiar with my channel, this is primarily a guitar channel, as you can kind of see, but I'm also a watch enthusiast. I really like watches, especially vintage ones. But I thought some of these new Rolex releases were really interesting, and people get a lot of views on YouTube talking about them. So that's what we're going to do today. So today I'm wearing my Rolex Oyster Perpetual in turquoise, which I thought was fitting because the first watch we're going to talk about is one of the more controversial releases of this year. I think it's really cool, so I'm going to put it up on the screen now. It is an Oyster Perpetual bubble dial, I think they're calling it. So basically, they took one of these, the turquoise Oyster Perpetual, and they took every other color that they made in 2020 when these first came out, and they just like threw it at the dial, like grabbed some paint and just kind of splattered it. I think it's really cool. I know a lot of people are going to hate this, but I guarantee you, you are not going to be able to get one of these. It's kind of fun. Rolex doesn't do fun very often, so it's kind of interesting to see this. I don't know. I think it's cool. Is anybody going to buy it? Absolutely they are. Is it going to have a crazy high secondary value? Yes. Could be wrong, but I don't know. I think it's really cool. It's almost Rolex kind of making fun of the crazy hype that those watch had. You know, all the different colors. Everybody kind of hated them at the time. You know, insert memes here. I absolutely fell in love with it. It's my favorite color of all time, the turquoise one. As you can see, I have several guitars of that color. And when I saw that, I absolutely had to have it. And I called the AD like the day after release in 2020. Took me a while to get it, but I finally got one. And this is really cool. I don't think I'll try to get one. I don't know. I don't think so. Not totally for me, but it is cool. Okay, so next we are going to be moving into the Daytona. I do like Daytonas. I specifically like vintage Daytonas, although I am not willing to sell in my entire guitar collection to buy one, because they're a little bit expensive. But they did refine the Daytona a little bit, and we'll throw up some pictures of that now. First thing that's really interesting about this, we have an exhibition caseback for, I think, the first time. I don't think Rolex has ever done that before. It's something really neat to see. It's not the highest, finish movement or anything, but who cares? It's cool. In my opinion, they should have done that a long time ago. I kind of expected a little bit more from the Daytona release this year, to be perfectly honest. I was a little bit surprised. They said it's a redesigned case, and I'm looking at it, and if you just showed me a picture of this, excuse me, if you showed me a picture of this, I'd just be like, yeah, it's a Daytona. What did they change? They added a ring around the ceramic bezel, which I actually kind of like. It might ding up a little bit easier, but I do like that. They said they refined the case a little bit. I don't really notice that much of a difference, to be perfectly honest. The subdials look a little bit skinnier, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's cool. The Platinum Daytona is the one that has the exhibition case back. And that saves them money because they don't have to put platinum on the back. Okay, next. So they released the Rolex Explorer in 40 millimeters. Great. I mean, what was it before? They had a 36, which is my preference. Honestly, I love 36 millimeter watches. But I'm kind of a small guy too. Anything with a lot of dial on it doesn't quite fit me right. They had a 39 millimeter for a while, which I think is the one that everybody really likes. I thought the 39 millimeter Explorer was a little bit clunky looking. Is that the right word? Just something about the proportions of it didn't seem quite right to me. The 36 just looks perfect, and to be perfectly honest, this 40 looks really good as well. I think they did a really good job with the proportions on this watch. but it's an Explorer. I think the 36 is also still available. Ooh, one thing I do want to mention, the Milgauss was discontinued, which is actually a little bit upsetting for me. I've always kind of wanted a Milgauss, and when I was buying this from the AD, I actually inquired about trying to get one, and my salesperson basically said no, that's basically not possible. But they are a little bit clunky as well. What I was hoping for this year was for them to refresh the Milgauss, tighten up those proportions, make it look a little cooler. I think it should have got an all-brushed bracelet because, it's a scientist's watch, the anti-magnetic one, and scientists are, not the easiest on their watches, I would imagine. But I wanted it because I make guitar pickups for a living, and I'm around magnets all the time and magnetizers. I was really hoping they were going to do something with that. Hopefully it'll come back sometime in the future. I don't know. I'm going to save this one for a second. We are now going to jump into the Yachtmaster. This is cool. I'm not much of a sports watch guy, to be perfectly honest. I kind of tend to prefer the smaller, kind of dressier watches. But this is a really interesting watch. I think this is kind of harkening back to Rolex's history a little bit here. Why it does look like, a fairly modern watch. It's made of titanium now, and it looks rugged, and it's not, the modern Submariner's a really kind of flashy watch almost compared to what it used to be. And I think what they did here is they made a rugged industrial tool watch, which is basically kind of how the original Submariner was. Rolex was a tool watch company. They were meant to be used. They weren't, fashion statements or anything like that. So I think that's really, really cool that they did that. It's 42 millimeters, which is too big for me, but it is neat. And check this out. It's got case bevels. It's got lug bevels on it. How sweet is that? That's something we haven't seen from them in a really long time. I really hope that gets into other Rolex sports models because that's awesome. I think that's one of the coolest things of this release, to be perfectly honest. So next up, we are going to talk about the Rolex 1908. Rolex discontinued the Cellini line, which I don't think anybody really cared about to begin with. It is one of the very few models that I actually you could every once in a while see in a case that you might be able to buy at the AD. But yeah, this I don't think you'll be able to get. Maybe. I think this is going to be easier to get than some of the other watches. This, I think, is the coolest thing that they released this year. Like I said, I kind of like the smaller, dressier watches. I think this is, let me take a look here. So it's in white gold or yellow gold, and it is in 39 millimeters, so it's a little bit bigger. It's kind of like your classic dress watch style, just kind of beefed up a little bit. It kind of reminds you of the Cellini a little bit. I love the center seconds. I think that's great. And the 1908, I'm not entirely certain that this watch is based on a Rolex from 1908. I think that's a little bit of poetic license. I don't know why they're calling it that. Let me see if they say anything about that here. The reference is an homage to founder Hans Wilsdorf, who registered the trademark in 1908 for Rolex. My light just went off. I'm not a professional watch YouTuber, if you had not noticed that. Yeah, this thing's awesome, though. It has a list price of like $22,000, which is a lot of money when you consider what it is. But if you were to go try to buy like a Patek Calatrava or something, I bet you're going to spend a lot more than that. Not something I would buy because there's other things at that price range I would consider before this. But good on you, Rolex, from pulling from your past. I think that's one of the coolest things they've done in a really long time. And I believe this one also has a clear case back. And now, to the last watch that we're going to talk about today is the day dates. Now, they did some cool day dates, actually. Oh, no, sorry, I missed one. We have the GMT, which they released in a new two-tone black and gray bezel. You can get it in two-tone or solid gold. Cool. I don't know. That's okay. The solid gold one's actually pretty cool. I always like a solid gold Jubilee bracelet. Okay, now on to the day date. They did make some cool ones. I think the stone dials, or whatever they're calling them, I don't have it pulled up here. Those are neat. And that does pull from Rolex's past as well, because they have done some of that before with like the black onyx dials and what are some of the other ones? I don't know. They've done those exotic dials in the past. I think it's kind of cool. But then, I'm looking at this watch right now. I've just put it up on the screen. You just gotta wonder, what in the fuck were they thinking of when they decided to make that dial? I mean, it's ridiculous. But it's kind of cool. Like, I have never seen Rolex play games like this before. It is such a fun dial. I don't know if anybody's gonna buy it. It's very not practical. I mean, it has, let's see, you guys have probably already watched all the other Rolex release videos. You know more about the actual technical specs and everything. I'm just kind of giving my take here. Let's see. Oh, it's available in Everose as well. Yeah, so instead of having the day of the week at the top, you have different things like love or whatever else it says. I don't know. And then the date window has 31 different emojis. Who would have ever thought Rolex would do something like that? And I really applaud that. They're just basically being like, F you, I don't care, we're going to do whatever we want and you're going to buy it. And that's exactly what's probably going to happen. I think this and the bubble dial OP are going to become very collectible in the future, if I had to guess, because I can't see them making these for more than a year or so. Could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool to see Rolex get a little bit fun with their designs, because that's just not something you typically think about them doing. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's all of them. Okay, let's take a look here. Yeah, I'm sure I missed something. Seems like they did something with the Sky Dweller. I think they added like a dial change for that. I think you can get like a green one now. Something on an Oyster Flex. I don't know. Again, not really a watch that particularly interests me. Yeah. Overall, I think they did a really good job this year. I mean, honestly, I was not expecting this much. I thought they were going to maybe, change a few colors here and there, give the Milgauss a refresh, and do something cool with the Daytona. And they really knocked it out of the park. That 1908 is fantastic. The bubble dial is going to be really fun to watch on the Facebook groups to see how people are trashing that. I think that's going to be really funny. And yeah, they just did a really nice job this year. So, there you guys have it. Let me know if you want to see more of this stuff. Maybe we'll start a watch channel. I don't know. I've done a watch video one other time. We took a look at my old Datejust, I think years ago. Didn't do particularly well. But I know a lot of guitar players are also watch people, so I thought this might be kind of interesting. Let me know down in the comments below if you want to see a little bit more of this, whatever this is. Watch talk. We'll call it watch talk. I don't have any other names yet. Yeah. So there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more content like this, or, reviewing watches, or so on. So, take it easy, guys. We'll see you later.